Hey, I'm Gwen Elliot and welcome to Start Something Big. So let's get real here. Sometimes starting anything can be challenging, and sometimes it's so challenging we don't even start. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. You know that to-do list you have that just keeps getting bigger? Well, after today, it'll be a thing of the past. Coming up, we'll show you how a successful Bay Street power couple quit their jobs to pursue their unique passion. Stay tuned to find out how they risked it all for their dream.
When we quit our jobs, we had literally no idea of what we were going to be doing.
See, you're hired.
Yes.
It's not every day that you meet a couple who would give up their high-powered jobs working on Bay Street to open an organic butcher shop. But today we're meeting Mario and Tara, former vegetarians and founders of The Healthy Butcher.
I was practicing law and Tara was an investment banker, and we weren't eating meat for the longest period of time because we were just disgusted at the meat that was generally available after reading many books like Fast Food Nation, and that kind of exposed the conventional meat industry.
During the course of the years that we had worked in our positions, we had met some great entrepreneurs, and so kind of I think a seed was put into our head to maybe go out there and try and do something on our own. And then when we were struggling with where to find the organic meat that we wanted to eat, that kind of pushed us a little bit further to work on developing this business idea. So when we quit our jobs, we had literally no idea of what we were going to be doing. We spent a good 6 months researching several different business ideas, and finally stuck with the one that we were the most passionate about, which was food.
We started looking for local farms that were raising organically. We found a small number of them, but they didn't really have a market to sell into, so we would be buying the whole animal, if anything. So we said, you know what, there must be other people out there that are looking for the same thing as we are, and that's where the idea for The Healthy Butcher was born.
We opened our first store on Queen Street in 2005, and then we opened 2 other stores thereafter in 2008. One in Midtown Toronto at Avenue and Eglinton, and one in Kitchener-Waterloo. And when we opened, there was myself, Mario, a chef and a butcher, and there was 4 of us, and we did everything in the store, from washing dishes to making the sausages to cutting the meat, serving the customers. So we were pulling very long days for probably a good 2-3 months, I think, when we opened.
Before we started hiring.
And a lot of learning on the fly.
I'm passionate about working in the organic food industry because I want to be around food that is produced in an ethical way, and I know that that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. I like to know where my food is coming from. I like to support local farmers and producers. I like for animals to be raised humanely. It makes me feel better about what I'm eating and what I do for a living.
I was miserable being the executive chef of a larger company and needed a change. So my wife convinced me to quit my job, and I saw a help wanted sign in The Healthy Butcher and I went on in. And it's been 6 years. Been there ever since. I was disillusioned with the way the restaurant world was progressing with pre-made things, and the bottom line was all that mattered. So all of a sudden I find myself in a space where I'm the only cook. I'm using ingredients fresh from the market every day. I never know what I'm cooking each day, but it was figure out what works and roll ahead with it. Working with Tara and Mario is an absolute pleasure. It's like working with family. It's nice to work for people who work as hard or harder than you do.
I think as an entrepreneur, you have to be open to having your day change on a whim. You can have a full plan on what you're working on that day, and like Mario says, something comes up and your whole plan for the day is completely gone and you're doing something completely different, right?
So when we started in 2005, our first store, which is much smaller than where we are here, it was mainly meat and some prepared foods. And then we've grown in this other store, which is now our largest store. We have only certified organic fruits and vegetables. We have our own produce section. We do fish. We were the first retailer, I think still the only retailer, to be ocean-wise certified, which basically means that the fish that we're selling is sustainable seafood. We do a lot more prepared foods. We just expanded our line just into dairy and cheeses and trying to fulfill all the needs of our customers. But meat still plays the key role in the core of our business.
So this is a cow leg.
A beef leg.
A beef leg.
That's right.
So you're going to break this down for us and show us how it goes from this to, what would it turn into? A steak? A roast?
There are steaks from here, there are roasts in here. Yeah.
Let's do it. And how long have you been working at The Healthy Butcher?
For about 5.5 years now. So almost since when it started. I started off as a chef and I wanted to learn about meat. And then unfortunately, or fortunately, I just kind of fell in love with the industry. So I liked cooking to begin with, and I liked food to begin with. And I just kind of found my niche. I think my niche was butchering.
All right, Dave, so what is this piece of meat and what can we cut it into so it will end up on our dinner tables?
Okay. There's a few things we can do with this. Primarily, this is the inside round. This is a beautiful muscle for roast beef. You can also do things like cutlets or scallopini from it, but it is outstanding as a roast beef.
So what are some of the benefits of buying organic meat?
Easily, the biggest advantage to buying organic meat is the transparency behind it. For a consumer's perspective, you know what has and has not gone into how that animal is being raised. The feed must be certified organic, so no GMOs. They were not sprayed with pesticides, herbicides. The water was what's considered potable, which means that you and I could drink it and not get sick. It also means that this animal has a certain amount of roaming space. It did go out and eat pasture and have a certain quality of living, because we're hearing more and more about animals that are being raised in ways that maybe don't agree with us, our ethics, what we would want to consume in our own personal diet. Everyone has different tastes and preferences in terms of what they want, and the nice thing about certified organic is that it means that this animal met a certain stipulation.
I think the best is the feedback we get, both from the customers and the farmers. I mean, customers always are sending us emails and phoning us and letting us know how much they appreciate what we're doing, because we're providing this link to their source, and it's a really high quality product. But probably what hits home for us even more is the farmers that we support. I mean, we get meat from over 75 farmers, and a lot of them are just very small, family-run farms that are raising a very small number that wouldn't be large enough to supply a conventional chain, and they believe in the organic system, they believe in ethically raised animals, and they're doing everything right, and we're pretty much the only source of revenue for them, and it's incredible.
I think the most satisfying part about starting your own business is just those random comments that you hear from people when you're not expecting it. So, I was on Queen Street a couple years ago, and I was sitting and having a coffee on the sidewalk, and somebody walked by the Healthy Butcher and they were like, "Oh, I just had a burger from there last night and it was the best burger I ever had." And that was, that was great. It was praise that you weren't looking for, that somebody didn't, I'm getting tears. Somebody didn't, purposely come and tell you, but you just overheard it and you were like, "Wow, that's so nice. I made that person's dinner really great last night."